Have you ever been exhausted but still said yes? Have you ever been needing rest but felt guilty even thinking about it? Have you ever tried to set a boundary and your chest kind of tighten up a little bit like you were doing something wrong? If that's you, stay with me, because today we're going to talk about why boundaries feel so hard for overwhelmed women on our show today. This is Dr. Angie Montgomery Summers. And you're here, you're listening to our Forward with Angie podcast. This is the space where we talk about boundaries, we talk about burnout, we talk about emotional health, we talk about caregiver fatigue and how to protect your peace without losing, your compassion. If you're a woman over 40, if you're a caregiver, maybe you're a professional woman, maybe you're in ministry, you're a leader, or you're simply just tired of carrying all that you've been carrying. Okay, you're in the right place. Now, let's go forward, because that's what this channel is all about, going forward. So before we go any further, love, let me define something for you very clearly. A boundary is a clear and respectful limit that protects a person's body. It protects your emotions, your privacy, your safety. Boundaries help us to know what's okay and what's not okay. What and how to do that, right? So that we know when boundaries and lines have been crossed. No, it is not an attitude. No, it is not punishing. No, it is not control. It's protection. So why does something so clear feel so hard to do? Let's break it down a little bit. Let's talk about it, because the points that I want to make is point one, boundaries feel hard. Number one, because your nervous system thinks they are risky, right? So when you say no, your brain kind of scans for danger. Will they be upset? Will that person be disappointed? Will I lose, love? Will I lose that friendship? Many overwhelmed women, I've been there, learned that being helpful meant being safe and being needed, being valued, right? So when you try to set a limit, your body reacts. It tightens up, your chest tightens up, you begin to overthink it, second guessing, backtracking everything, trying to make sure that everybody's okay. Listen, love, this is not a weakness. This is conditioning. And many of us have in our earlier lives, that's what has happened, conflict, silence, emotional withdrawal, all those things could have been a consequence of it. And our body, our nervous system remembers that. So point two, boundaries feel hard because you were rewarded for overgiving. Caregivers are very much high achievers. The strong friend, the dependable one, the dependable daughter, the reliable leader. You were the one that was praised for all of the sacrifice that you did. So usefulness became your identity. If I help, I matter. If I carry it, I'm good. If I fix it, I'm valued. Now, when you slow down or you say no, it feels wrong because you've done it for so long. But you're not wrong. You're tired. You're exhausted. You are burnt out. But some way we just continue, right? We just continue. And we go on and on and on, right? But that's what we talk about on this channel. We are helping you to recover from burnout. And that I know firsthand, okay? Being a solo entrepreneur for years and learning from past experiences and building businesses in the midst of handling life. For many years, things just kind of, unfolded, and you just do what you do. In our culture, grinding is glorified. Working yourself to the bones, like literally, And for so many years, I worked as a mental health professional, and I started that first business, I remember, and I was working day and night, right? And I can remember being so tired and so worn out and doing everything, and all the extra money, I was not even able to enjoy it, So burnout is a real deal. Burnout makes boundaries even harder. When you're chronically overwhelmed, overworked, your brain is tired, decision fatigue, and tired brains default to familiar patterns. For many women, the familiar pattern is yes. Even when yes is costing you your health, costing you your peace. Burnout really clouds your decision making. Boundaries require you to have a clear mind and an understanding of your capacity. And so many of us struggle in that area. It may even look like it's messing with our character, because we're so exhausted when we say yes. Sometimes we can't fulfill. And when we can fulfill it, maybe it's a little not like it needs to be, because we're just running on fumes. Boundaries to protect the body from exhaustion. Boundaries protect your emotions, and boundaries can protect your privacy, right? So there are all different types of boundaries that you and I both need to set to protect us in those different areas. And in this series, you're going to learn the different types of boundaries, and many times we haven't even thought of them, because when we're running on fumes, anxiety and illnesses kind of get in, and they'll mess with your system. And sometimes we don't make the best decisions or even remember a lot of the things, because our brain is so flooded. So I truly believe that once we start learning how to set clear and respectable limits, right, then some of this would have to find its place and settle down, and the people around us will be able to get an understanding that we're not being mean, we're not being selfish. These are limits, right? These are limits that we ourselves teach others about how to treat us. And many times I found in working with women from all over, literally almost all over the world, that's something that's common to women. Many times it is difficult for us to say no, because maybe no one else steps up to do that. And so some of us find it maybe difficult to stay calm and to do what we need to do without guilt showing up afterwards, right? So because most women do not struggle with knowing, they struggle with saying. And we are going to fix that on this channel, okay? If this conversation opened your eyes at all, here is where you can come back to get the tools to tap into some of the things that I said today, right? And so this is all things boundaries. This may be new territory for you. I'm understanding that many of us, we're looking for self-care, and we kind of think, well, what is boundary and what does that have to do with self-care? Well, love, understanding who you are and understanding what you need and understanding your capacity. It's like filling a cup. At some point, that cup gets full. You can keep pouring, but it's going to spill out. It's going to spill over. And many times that's what happens when we are over yesers, when we overstate, we over obligate ourselves. Then sometimes our lives and our personal lives can look a little messy. Not because our heart is not pure, it's just because we've reached our capacity. And that's it. And I teach women how to find out what their capacity is, what their limit is, what it is that they need. And many times as women, especially women in the workplace, we haven't been asked that question. You know, what's your limit? You're just giving us description of a job and you agree to do it. And many times that job description may change and other things are being added. You know, that little line that says other duties as assigned, right? And so we're locked and loaded many times. And I know that as an entrepreneur myself, at some point things were going pretty much okay. And then I became a full-time caregiver. So there's that other duties as assigned, right? So we just have to be mindful of the boundaries, the limits that we set for ourselves. Even I have to set limits for myself. I can say yes, even to myself, to things. And then I have to back up and say, wait a minute, this is not doing me well. This is not what I need to be doing. And so many times it's easy for me to go back and tell myself, no. You set a boundary and this is what you're going to do regardless, right? And that takes practice. And so once you learn how to set boundaries for yourself, then it becomes easier to set boundaries with others, right? So first of all, we have to be true to ourselves and honor ourselves, honor our bodies, cherish our health. And many times as caregivers and just women in general, culturally, we've been designed and programmed, if you will, that we're to be here to serve others. And I'm not saying that we can't serve others. I'm just saying in the midst of serving others, it's okay for us to set limits so that we also can live a life that we enjoy as well. And if your life is like mine was, just out of balance, you know, hypertension, everything just out of whack, you know, and you're trying hard, you know, you have anxiety that creeps up, and many of us don't even understand what anxiety is and what it looks like and what it feels like, you know. So not that I'm here to clinically diagnose anybody as anxiety, but there's so many things that come into play that we experience. And so for that reason, I have worked with so many women, and we form what we call Sister Circle. And part of Sister Circle is that opportunity to come together with like-minded women who are experiencing the same and similar things. And many of us are overcoming things, and we share those tips and pointers, and most importantly, that support. Many of us are on different levels. Many of us have different experiences. And in a community, we really learn from each other. Many times we have women that come in and they're just really, really quiet because they're still learning and incorporating all of this. And I know for myself, I would say, oh my goodness, they're going through the same thing that I went through. They're saying the same thing that I said. And I'm thinking that they have a different, you know, a life issue than I did. But really it all boils down to many women, there's nothing wrong with us, but we are just overworked and overwhelmed. And when that happens chronic, I call that burnout. And there is recovery from burnout. There is recovery. That is not we're going to grind for the rest of our lives. That is not what we're doing. 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 So we teach you how to recover from the grinding, and from the grinding. They teach us that the more we grind, the more successful we are. And there is so much evidence to discount that. And you're not a scientist, I'm not either. But we don't need to be scientists to know that after a while you're just tired and something has to change. Right? So if that's you, then I want you to subscribe to this channel and come back next week, because next week we're going to talk about some of those things. What happens next, right? When you're burnt out, how to start that discovery, how to figure it out, and also what to do next, right? And if you're over 40, trying to figure it out all by yourself, you don't have to do it by yourself. You can, but how's that working for you? We are designed to be in community with each other. So go ahead and subscribe, like, and share this video with another sister, right? Someone who's looking for self-care and having some issues. Come back here, because eventually, honey, we're going to talk about it, all right? So again, this is Angie Montgomery Summers, and this is Forward with Angie. See you next week, love. Okay, next Tuesday at 7:07. All right. Love you and thank you. And keep your head up, because the best is yet to come. Okay? And I'm living proof of that.